The streets of Ouagadougou buzzed with energy. Since the attempted coup that nearly toppled President Ibrahim Traoré, the capital of Burkina Faso seemed to breathe resistance. The news of the attack on his life spread like a trail of gunpowder. But something unexpected happened. Black people around the world decided to respond. In Paris, demonstrators marched through Place de la République, their signs raised like symbolic spears. "Africa rises!" they shouted, their voices echoing between the historic buildings of the city. In New York, Layla Johnson, an African-American activist of Ghanaian descent, led a crowd in Harlem. Her eyes sparkled with determination as she held a megaphone. "Today, we are all Burkinabe," she declared, her voice thick with emotion. By her side was Marcus, a South African photographer documenting the movement in real time. He observed everything carefully, capturing every tear, every clenched fist, every face painted with the colors of the Pan-African flag. Meanwhile, in Johannesburg, young student Zanele Mokoena watched live broadcasts of the protests on her phone. She felt a mix of pride and outrage. As a member of an anti-colonial student organization, Zanele had always known the struggle was global, but she never imagined she would see so many people united for an African cause. She decided to organize a local protest, calling on friends and classmates. At the center of it all was Ibrahim Traoré, whose enigmatic figure seemed to transcend borders. Even temporarily confined to a secure location after the failed coup, his words still reverberated. "Africa will no longer be silenced," he had said in a speech before the attack. That phrase became the protesters' mantra. Still, no one knew how he would respond to this global wave of support. As night fell over Ouagadougou, the air grew heavier with expectation. News of the demonstrations reached the president, brought by his loyal advisor, Amadou Diallo. "They are with you, sir," said Amadou, handing him photos of the crowds around the world. Traoré remained silent, his eyes fixed on the images. He knew he needed to respond, but how? The weight of responsibility pressed down on his shoulders, yet it also ignited a flame of hope. The silence of Ibrahim Traoré worried many. To the protesters, his public absence was a sign of weakness or indecision. In Paris, Layla Johnson began to feel the pressure. "Why hasn't he said anything?" she asked during a meeting with other activists. "We need a word of encouragement, something that unites us even more." Her frustration was evident, but Marcus, always calm, placed a hand on her shoulder. "He will speak when the time is right," he replied. "Traoré knows what he's doing." Meanwhile, in Burkina Faso, remnants of the coup attempt were trying to regain ground. They spread rumors on social media, accusing Traoré of orchestrating the protests to gain popularity. These lies began to circulate quickly, creating divisions among some groups. Amadou Diallo noticed the danger and warned Traoré, "Sir, we need to act now. They are using our own weapons against us." Zanele in Johannesburg was facing her own battle. Some of her fellow students hesitated to join the protest, fearing retaliation. "This is bigger than us," she argued, trying to convince them. "If we don't take a stand now, who will?" Her words moved some, but others remained skeptical. Tension was rising, and Zanele felt the weight of responsibility. Layla, on the other hand, found strength in solidarity. She called Marcus, asking him to send his photos to international newspapers. "This story needs to be told," she said. "The world needs to see what we're doing." Marcus agreed, but warned her about the risks. "You know, this might attract unwanted attention, right?" Layla smiled. "Let them come. We're ready." That night, Traoré finally made a decision. He called Amadou and began drafting a message. It would not be just a speech. It would be a statement embracing the entire black diaspora. But he knew his words needed to be carefully chosen. One misstep could bring down everything that had been built. The following days were marked by intense preparation. In Burkina Faso, Traoré worked tirelessly on his message, reviewing every sentence with Amadou. "We need to touch their hearts," he said. "I don't just want to give a speech. I want to inspire." Amadou nodded, recognizing the depth in his president's words. This was more than politics. It was a matter of identity and purpose. Meanwhile, Layla in Paris was organizing a large assembly with representatives from various black communities. She wanted to ensure that all voices were heard. During the event, she met a woman named Fatoumata, a Senegalese immigrant who shared stories of struggle and resistance from her home country. "We are stronger together," said Fatoumata, moved by the moment. Layla felt a lump in her throat. That was exactly what she wanted to convey. The diversity of experiences in the room reinforced the idea that the fight was global. Each story was unique, yet all pointed toward the same goal: justice and equality. In Johannesburg, Zanele managed to gather a significant crowd for the protest. He spoke passionately, citing African leaders like Thomas Sankara and Nelson Mandela. "Our legacy is not only one of pain," he declared, "it is one of courage and resilience." His colleagues applauded, and he felt he had finally broken through the barriers of hesitation. The energy in the air was tangible, and everyone seemed ready to act. Meanwhile, Marcus was sending his photographs to newspapers around the world. The powerful images of the demonstrations began gaining attention, amplifying the message of unity. He received messages of gratitude from strangers, which made him realize the power of art as a tool for social change. His photographs were more than mere records. They were testimonies of a silent revolution. Finally, the crucial moment arrived. Traoré recorded his message, which would be broadcast live to the entire world. He chose a simple but symbolic setting, a plaza in Ouagadougou, surrounded by children and elders. "This is our Africa," he said, looking directly into the camera. "She belongs to all of us." Amadou watched closely, knowing this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Before going on air, Traoré reflected on the weight of his words. He knew millions would be listening and that his phrases could change lives. "Let my voice be an echo of theirs," he thought, taking a deep breath. He was ready, not just to speak as a president, but as a representative of a people who refused to be silenced. The live broadcast was watched by millions. In Paris, Layla and Fatoumata were among the thousands who filled the squares to listen to Traoré. In New York, Marcus followed everything with wide eyes glued to the screen. In Johannesburg, Zanele and his colleagues gathered in front of an improvised screen. Everyone eagerly awaited the president's words, whose figure had already become a symbol of hope. "I have seen your tears, your voices, your hearts," Traoré began, his voice firm and filled with emotion. "I have seen black men and women around the world raise their hands in solidarity. You have shown me that Africa is not just a continent. It is an idea, a force that unites all of us." The crowd in Ouagadougou applauded, and emotions overflowed across the world. It was as if each word touched something deep within people. But the most powerful moment came when Traoré made a surprising statement. "It is not I who leads this change," he said. "You are the true leaders. You who took to the streets, who faced fear and oppression. I'm only a reflection of your courage." These words brought a profound silence, followed by an eruption of applause. It was as though he had returned power to the people. Layla was openly crying, holding Fatoumata tightly. Marcus took a photo of the moment, capturing the essence of collective emotion. Zanele in Johannesburg felt a shiver run through his body. He knew this would change something inside him forever. Traoré's words were more than a speech. They were a call to action, a summons to keep fighting. Traoré's message not only strengthened global unity, but also exposed the fragility of external interests trying to divide the continent. The remnants of the coup began to lose support, isolated in the face of collective strength. It was the beginning of a new era, marked by resistance and solidarity. The world seemed to be changing. As the broadcast ended, people remained in the streets, singing and celebrating. It was as if a wave of positive energy had taken hold of everyone. Layla, still emotional, hugged Fatoumata and said, "This is only the beginning." She knew the struggle would continue, but now there was a renewed clarity about the path ahead. In the days following Traoré's speech, the world witnessed a significant transformation. In Burkina Faso, the coup conspirators were arrested, but that was not enough to fully restore public trust. Traoré knew he needed to rebuild not only the government, but also the people's confidence in his leadership. He began a series of visits to rural communities, speaking directly with citizens. "Our strength comes from you," he repeated often. Those words resonated deeply, especially among the younger generation. Layla, in Paris, continued leading initiatives to promote racial equality, inspired by Traoré's message of unity. She organized an event called Global Africa, which brought together activists from around the world. During the event, she shared stories of resistance and spoke about the importance of keeping the flame of struggle alive. "We cannot settle for small victories," she said. "We must keep pushing for real change." Her passion was contagious, and many left the event inspired. Marcus published his photo book titled Africa Rises, which quickly became a global success. He traveled to several cities to promote it, giving talks on the power of art as a tool for social transformation. During one of these events, he met a young Nigerian photographer named Ngozi, who was just starting her career. They spent a long time discussing how photography could be used to document and inspire social movements. Marcus saw in Ngozi a new generation of artists committed to change. Zanele, in Johannesburg, founded a student organization called African Uprising. The organization focused on political education, awareness, and support for community projects. He traveled to Burkina Faso to meet Traoré in person, and the two had a long conversation about Africa's future. "You are the new generation," said Traoré, smiling. "I am proud of you." Zanele felt honored and renewed in his mission. He knew the work would be hard, but he also knew he had powerful allies. Fatoumata, in turn, returned to Senegal to work on community projects. She established a cultural center called African Roots, offering courses in African history, arts, and local languages. The center quickly became a gathering place for young people eager to learn more about their heritage. Fatoumata stayed in regular contact with Layla, and the two planned new ways to collaborate. "The fight continues," Fatoumata once said, "but now we know we are not alone." The protests gave way to a lasting global movement, with support networks being created across different countries. In Ouagadougou, a statue was erected in honor of the protesters, with a plaque that read, "Our strength lies in our unity." Traoré continued to lead Burkina Faso with wisdom and humility, always remembering that his role was to serve the people. He knew true change came from the grassroots, and that his mission was simply to give voice to those who had once been silenced. Months later, the protests evolved into a lasting global movement. In Ouagadougou, the statue erected in honor of the demonstrators became a symbol of resistance and hope. Every day, people of all ages visited the site, leaving flowers, letters, and messages of gratitude. It was as if the square had transformed into a living sanctuary where memories of the struggle were celebrated and preserved. Traoré often visited the location, reflecting on the collective impact those people had made. Layla, Marcus, Zanele, and Fatoumata followed different paths, but they remained united by a common cause. They knew their work had only just begun, and that they had the power to change the world. "Africa rises," Zanele said one night, gazing at the stars, "and we are with her." His words echoed as a reminder that the fight would never truly end. Each of them found ways to contribute to the movement through art, education, or community organizing. Marcus continued documenting changes around the world, capturing moments many considered impossible. His work stood as proof that art could be a powerful weapon against injustice. He knew every photo he took was an act of resistance, a way to keep alive the memories of those who had fought before him. On one of his travels, he met a group of young artists in Nigeria who were using murals to tell stories of resistance. Inspired, he decided to collaborate with them, further expanding the reach of his message. Fatoumata in Senegal saw her community. Projects flourish. Beyond the African Roots Cultural Center, she began organizing annual conferences on the theme Africa's Future. These events brought together community leaders, educators, and activists to discuss strategies for sustainable development. "The past teaches the present," she often said, "and the present shapes the future." Her dedication became an example to everyone around her, and she emerged as an influential figure in her country. Zanele, meanwhile, became a powerful voice among young people. He traveled across the continent, speaking about the importance of unity and resistance. "We cannot go back," he would say. "We have the power to create a better future." His enthusiasm was contagious, inspiring others to join the movement. He also began writing a book about his experience during the global movement, documenting the lessons learned and the challenges faced. He wanted his story to serve as a guide for future generations. In the end, the story of Ibrahim Traoré and global unity left behind an eternal legacy. It was proof that when people unite around a shared cause, they can move mountains. "Africa rises," Zanele repeated, almost like a mantra. And so, the story came to a close, but it left behind one certainty. The struggle continued, and the future was theirs to claim. The voices that once echoed through the streets of Ouagadougou, Paris, New York, and Johannesburg still resonated, reminding the world that unity is the key to transformation. Traoré, in turn, continued leading Burkina Faso with humility and determination. He knew that his greatest achievement was not political power, but his ability to inspire millions to believe in themselves. "The future belongs to those who fight for it," he said in one of his final public speeches. And with those words, he sealed his place as a leader whose influence transcended borders and generations. Copiar, pergunta, expliquer.